I'm Lauren.
And I'm Annie.
Welcome to Burf Bar. Woo!
We're never going to get that intro timing right while we're on Zoom. That's fine.
No.
You know what? I feel like it's a representation of things being off-kilter in the world at large.
Metaphors. Although it's pathetic that we can't get it right because my husband and my cousin's husband managed to play a punk rock version of Kermit the Frog's Rainbow Connection from two completely different cities using an app to sync their time. My husband played bass, and my cousin's husband played guitar.
Well, they've been musicians much longer. We've only been doing this podcast for nearly 3 years.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We'll figure it out.
So, Lauren, how are you?
Today I'm superb.
Tell me more. Why?
Oh, you want me to go? You want me to go first?
Sure.
All right. I ran the. It's just silly saying it out loud. The Choo Choo 9-miler. I ran the virtual Choo Choo 9-miler.
Just so you know, that sounds like that thing that's going around that's like your next race is the city you were born in,
Yeah.
the last thing you ate, and the last official distance you did. That's what the Choo Choo 9-miler sounds like.
It does.
It sounds like somebody pulled things out of a hat and was like, Choo 9-miler.
Exactly. It is a mishmash of bizarre things. It is to raise money for the OYO Deaf Kids Camp. And I have no idea why it's called the Choo Choo 9-miler. I think it's an inside joke amongst deaf culture people, but I don't know what that joke is. And eventually this podcast will be made accessible to deaf people when we interpret it, but I don't know when we'll have the time for that. Anyway.
That's in our roadmap for year 6.
There we go. So I decided on the windiest, coldest day of the last 2 weeks,
Good.
I would go out and blaze as hard as I could blaze.
Please tell me you went out in one direction into the headwind.
I did.
So as to keep it as hard as possible the whole time. Good.
I did. And then I thought about having someone pick me up, but I ran into the headwind, which was downhill, and then I ran with tailwind uphill. So it basically got nothing good ever.
Good.
It was like the most punishing 9-miler I could do, but I finished in 1:19, and I feel amazing about it.
And that pace is?
8:50.
That's remarkable.
It's the fastest I've run a long chunk of miles in years.
Your Mr. Magoo strategy is paying off handsomely already.
New method is the only method. Yeah, it was the jam. I'm going to suffer for it.
Yeah. Whatever.
Maybe I won't. New method.
You're going to have a hard time walking to your next dinner out? No. Remember, everything else is canceled, so you can recover in peace.
Well, that's absolutely true. I plan to do that.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. We'll see how it goes.
I still want all the details, even though it's a virtual race. What is the swag?
There is a t-shirt and a medal and a bib.
Cool.
And the emblem, which I put on my Strava, is a very good-looking graphic. It's
cool.
A beautiful circle with a train in the middle. It sounds like I choose you. It sounds like the Dwight Schrute 5K. It sounds completely fucking made up, but it's a beautiful little emblem.
Awesome.
They're not going to be able to send the shirts out yet because their shirt pressing company is closed.
That'll do it. Yeah. Oh, I guess we should mention this was not originally designed to be a virtual race. This is a on-site race that got moved to virtual because what's the name of that thing happening? I'll think of it later. So yeah, not being able to get shirts out. Just so people know, it is not a shortcoming by this race organization at all by any means. It's that they had to move to it being an at-home option.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Did you have a deadline for when you needed to do it by or anything?
Yeah, I think it's April 26th.
Okay.
But
it's weird, like, when dates come up, because time has no meaning right now. Like, April 26th. Wasn't that yesterday? Or is that 6 weeks from now?
Yeah.
It's one of those.
April's going to be the longest month of the year. Yeah. I actually have erased the dry erase board calendar on our fridge and just wrote time is meaningless across it with, like, drippy clocks.
Good.
Just to further imbue a sense of true end of the world feeling in our kitchen.
What time is it? Salvador Dali time?
Yeah, turn all the clocks upside down. Turn them to like 1944. Yeah, I know. I'm fucking with them a little bit. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
More exciting than a choo-choo, than a Cap'n Crunch, the Akron Cap'n Crunch 15K-er.
We should say, is that what your race name was?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, mine was the Akron Vegan Chorizo Adventure Race.
Oh, really
okay.
good. Yeah. Really good. Mine at the time was Sylvania Chocolate Chex 54 miler.
I would run the shit out of that.
Yeah, sounds good, right?
Yeah.
Now it would be, let's see. Now it would be the Sylvania. Let me think. What was my last snack? The Sylvania probably. What was my last snack? Oh, Cheez-Its. The Sylvania Cheez-Its 54 miler. Also
Not as good. Not as good as Chocolate Chex. Just
see, but now yours has changed. So what's yours now?
It's the Akron Peeps Rogaine.
No, it's the Akron Peeps 9 miler.
Oh yes, it is the Akron Peeps 9 miler.
Also would run the shit out of that. Very good. I mean,
oh my god,
that actually should have been the race that you run this upcoming weekend. That's like Easter weekend. Every Easter I run the Akron's Peep 9 miler.
Yeah, I really like that a lot. So in more exciting news than a not real 9 miler, Annie ran the performance peak performance
The PPQBYU.
the peak performance quarantine backyard ultra race this past weekend, which consisted of thousands of participants.
Thousands of people, like 2,400 people from like 50 different countries doing this backyard ultra. And we had just released the episode before, like a couple days ago. So if you're lucky, you'll like listen to the before and after the event episodes in the same day, because I just feel like that's fun. But
I would like you to let me interview you as though you were an elite runner on my running podcast.
Oh, okay. So I will start by saying this race was a lot like Schrodinger's cat.
It both existed and did not?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow, we haven't done that in a minute.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I know I'm trying a lot harder than we usually do to drop that in there, but I was like, I can't let this go one more episode.
Wow, I can't believe I've been missing it.
I know. Yeah. So yeah, I did the peak performance quarantine backyard ultra. Virtual backyard ultra.
That's worse than an Akron Chorizo 500.
Tip of the tongue, tip of the lip. Tip of the, tip of the tongue, slip of the lip.
Piddly-pee, piddly-pa, tiddling toddlers. So, I want to know how you felt. I know how you felt days going into this race because we discussed it on our last podcast, but I want to know how you felt the morning of, because it was kind of a late start for an ultra.
I was stoked because there would be like no impact to my regular routine. So the race started at 9 a.m. Eastern time, which meant I could get up at my regular time of like 7:30, have breakfast at a completely normal pace. Absolutely, I'm a slacker. Completely normal pace. Go to the restroom at a completely it would be like every other morning essentially. So I thought like that's got to be good. There's no additional stress or change or whatever besides just the event. So I felt really good in the morning, and I was really excited having done the test loop, which is just running from my house several times during the week, and was like, sweet, like this shouldn't take me a whole lot of time. And all backyards that I've done, or both backyards I've done, so Biggs and Ohio backyard, it's always been a bit of a push to get my loops done for the first part, at least, until I got on the road. So I was really excited to do a loop that wouldn't seem like it would take it out of me every single loop. You know what I mean? Like Ohio Backyard Ultra, like
every
I don't have to dive into that too deep, but like every loop it was like, yeah.
Oh man, was it ever? Holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was excited race morning.
What did you eat?
I had my normal eggs and English muffin.
Cream.
So I do 2 eggs with some cheese on it, English muffin. I think I had I think I had half of a cup of coffee. So
Okay.
I didn't have a ton of caffeine because I knew that I was going to get the nervous poops. Anyways, so I didn't need to lawn sprinkler it by having a whole cup of coffee. I'm sorry. I know you don't think this is the kind of podcast we have, but it is.
Oh,
and I'm not apologizing to you, listener.
No.
I'm apologizing to Lauren.
No, it always has been. Come on, I'm poop queen. So what's the format for basically staying connected to the race director and other racers?
So you're dialed into a Zoom call and you have a webcam or your phone or whatever that is in your start-finish area. So you didn't need to take your phone with you for proof on the run or anything, but you just need to have it set up whether you were on a treadmill, pointing at the treadmill. If you're starting from your house, then you needed to have it from your start-finish area. It was pretty chill as far as where the camera was. You just needed to kind of be popping in at the beginning and end of each one of your loops. So,
and were you sending Stravas every hour? Because I think some people were and some people weren't.
Some people did. So it wasn't a requirement, but I did have my watch going. I had Strava going as a backup just because I was like, if I go for it like I really want to, I would like to make sure that it is legit as possible, which is part of one of the reasons I didn't go on a treadmill. Even though I could have, I just felt like I want this to be as close to a normal backyard as normal, and that means going outside to me anyways.
I've heard some people say, like, oh, wow, being on a treadmill must be so much easier. It's so much
No
easier
way.
on your body. And I was like, okay, well, whatever absorption impact that you receive from being on a treadmill, take that and consider that the impact on your mind would be much greater than being outside. I think that it evens out.
Yeah, also, I don't know what the stats were, but when I think about, like, who I remember as being, like, the top 10 people, I feel like more people were not on treadmills than were on treadmills.
For sure.
I feel like that says something. But let's agree that the people running around restaurants and their couches for the whole time were at a disadvantage to both treadmill and outdoor users.
Wait, what? Tell me about that.
So there was a guy in Dubai who was running loops in his living room, like around his couch. Also, Matt Shepard, who, gosh, I feel like he must have at least made it to top 10. He was running in a closed down restaurant, like around like the eating area where like the tables were up on chairs.
And he was one of the last 10? He ran over 100 miles inside a restaurant?
At least. He may have even made it past the 200 mark. He went for a very, very long
time.
time.
That must be a bizarre Guinness World Record.
I don't know. It was very cool. And I forget where he was, but he went outside for a loop or two and was just like, the weather's too bad for me to be outside. So I don't know if it was too cold or what, but yeah, it was really interesting to see the crazy like conditions that everybody was running in. Like Anna Carlson, who I'm going to have a girl crush on forever. She was in Sweden running outdoors. There was snow everywhere. They had to like plow. She had somebody that was plowing her loop periodically. She was starting and finishing in a yurt where they had a generator going. She ultimately had to call it and made it to she was the last female standing for sure, third place, and she had to stop because of a winter storm. So she would go out with like a full like soft shell jacket and just
what a badass.
Amazing. But yeah, it was really cool to see like people's choice of different formats, and like it was funny to think like, is that an advantage? Is it a disadvantage? Like Anna Carlson's outside in the snow and this person is on a treadmill in their basement. I don't know which seems worse.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean it all seems like a pile of evils that you choose from. That said, tell us about your weather conditions.
So, I hadn't even thought about this, and we did Facebook Live last Friday, as we have been doing and will continue to do. And one of the questions you and I were discussing is, what is our kryptonite? I mistakenly said sleep during
the Facebook
Live event. I was wrong. It's heat, and I can't believe I forgot that.
It's heat.
So Saturday, I started at 9, which was great because it wasn't super early. But I honestly had not really considered the weather. And it got up to 70 degrees on Saturday. And for me, and especially now when we haven't really had that warm of weather, it was hot. It felt very hot.
It was hot for anyone.
Yeah, so I just kind of felt like, oh yeah, hot. Don't like hot. But so it was toastier during the day. And like, I have really cool things going on. Like, I don't know if you can see I have like a sun.
Ooh, that's a nice bird there.
Very cool.
Wow.
Very cool.
Oh, that's beautiful.
My neck has already started to peel because, you go through winter in Ohio and you forget about things like the sun.
You do. I've been putting on sunscreen now every day because I got burnt twice last week.
And I need to. I just honestly have not flipped the switch because we're in what we are right now. I still feel like it's winter because I'm locked in my house. Mm-hmm. Not really, but kind of. So I haven't considered things like that. But so the weather was warm.
We have our own personal meteorologist, Andrew Buckmichael, who's a barfer and ultra runner, and he was updating
Channel 6 Columbus.
He was updating me regularly about what the weather was going to be like for Annie as the day continued, and we appreciate our meteorologist support.
Yeah, it was great. I actually messaged with him a little bit later in the day because I guess I should backtrack a little bit. I started the event and was, again, feeling really good about running from the house and just having everything that I need at home, being timing wise, working out really great with kind of my normal rhythm and flow at home. And I started out and I didn't get any free miles. I didn't have any loops that I thought yay. The last 2 backyards I've done, despite the trail course definitely being harder than what I was doing on asphalt out and back from my house, the first loops were still kind of I'm so jazzed, this is relatively easy. Mm-hmm. I did not feel like that to start. I just was kind of I felt very in my body and aware of every of everything instead of kind of getting into the flow of things and just kind of being all right, whatever. I just felt very in it. And
that sucks that you didn't get to tune out at all.
Yeah, I didn't get to tune out at all. And I and definitely part of that could have been the heat. And I think I probably could have managed the heat better. But
were you icing?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I was icing. Okay. I probably could have started earlier, but I also know, and I'm hopping all over the place, but I also know that even if I had been very conscientious and diligent with heat management, I don't know that I could have made much of a difference because heat impacts me so much. I haven't been running in the hot part of the day. It hasn't been that warm here. Heat just impacts me a lot. So I'm just kind of
yeah, you weren't acclimated to it at all.
Yeah. And so, if that's a limiting factor for me, then, that is what it is. But after going through several hours during the day and feeling a little toasty, our weatherman had messaged saying, I'm rooting for you. And I was I'm really trying to hang in there. I said, I'm just trying to get to some of the night loops because if it can cool off, I know, if I can cool off, my body starts to digest my fuel better. I don't, it just, being too hot for me just makes everything else harder. It makes it harder to move. So I was if I can just make it to the night hours and to cooler weather, I think I will feel much better.
Did you have any aches and pains?
Yes. So I had just general on asphalt ouchies.
Yeah, where all your bones
have turned to dust.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the longest I've ever run on asphalt is probably doing 50 miles on the road at Ohio Backyard and Biggs. When I did Ginger Miss, a lot of that was on asphalt, but it was broken up into a lot slower pace. So this is probably the most asphalt I've done at once. And again, my motivation has sucked for running.
But you were amped for this.
Yeah, I was amped, but so I'm just saying, like, physiologically, I wasn't super trained for this, so I feel like that just contributed to my body hurting too. And honestly, like, and I want to be clear because I'm not big on like excuses. I eventually stopped because I did not want to keep going. Like, and I honestly don't know how many races I feel confident saying that was the reason I stopped, but this one for sure, I was like, I am stopping because I no longer want to go any further.
Has there ever been a race like that other than maybe Antelope Canyon?
No, Antelope Canyon, I was good. I think...
Wait, no, not Antelope. What was the one you... there was a 100-miler that you DNF'd.
Angeles Crest.
Ah, yes.
Yeah,
A-words,
but Angeles Crest, I definitely wanted to keep going and could not. So, like... Even though my body couldn't. So, because I feel like there's two different, like, switches.
Your body didn't let you that time.
Yes.
So this was maybe your only DNF where you were just like, I don't like it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, where it's just kind of like, I don't want to do this anymore. Mm-hmm. And I got to the late afternoon, probably like hour 8 or 9 or something, and was just kind of like, man, I just... I'm not wanting to do this. My body doesn't feel great. I cannot, I am not having any.
You weren't digesting.
Loops.
You weren't eating. Andy was
eating.
Oh, you were?
I was. Yeah. He kept thinking that I wasn't, but I would take 2 servings of Tailwind out with me. I would still eat some solid food in between.
He was worried.
Yeah, no, and I clarified that with him too. I was like, even when I didn't take Tailwind, I took 2 baby foods with me and did baby food on the loop. So, I think I was doing okay there. I probably could have used more water. But, yeah.
Did you have sloshy belly?
No.
Oh, good. Okay.
No. But, and I could tell, too, how taxed I was once I started getting to the end of the daytime hours because I started to feel pretty weepy. And I know, that means... I did, yeah. So that means for me, that means I'm really depleted and tired. Like when I think about times I've gotten really weepy, it's been at Burning River after being in the heat all day, and across the years after being out there for 48 hours already. Yeah. So it was kind of one of those things where I'm like, I know, I know this is a factor of all these other things that I feel like this, but you were talking about, I will come out and, cheer you wherever.
Yeah.
And,
you were like, no, don't.
Yeah, don't. I was like, I'll cry if I see you. And our dear friend Beth Sandman and Deanna Ball came out and wrote some quotes on the sidewalk. And I started to cry when I saw them from a distance, too, because I was like, I don't know why I choose to do these things. And I said, and I don't know why this feels so hard. This feels so hard today. And I was reassured during the day, and I thought it was strange. And I think because I've put a lot of pressure on myself about my daily runs and stuff, I really don't like that I don't feel like going out for runs on a daily basis. And I'm trying to be accepting about it, so I'm not kind of piling stress on top of that. But man, I'm having a hard time wanting to get out the door during the week to do anything. And this weekend kind of felt like a reflection of that too, where my big reassurance during the day was reminding myself, it's okay if you stop. If you go out on a loop and you don't make it on time, back on time, you will be okay.
Yeah.
Not even people will still like you. It was just kind of I don't know what I had a fear of in my head of what was going to happen, but it was very...
It's a discrete, irrational fear.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And so it was really reassuring to be it's okay if I stop. It's okay if I stop. That was what kept me going for additional hours rather than feeling
take the pressure off, not put the pressure on.
Yeah, nobody cares what you do, so why not just go out and put around on a loop? So I thought it was really sweet. So Sandman and Deanna, they wrote on the sidewalk a quote, and it was, you will not die, you are going home like a shooting star.
Oh no, I just got goosebumps all over.
And it was so perfect because it was it's okay. I will not die.
Oh my
and it was
God.
on my way back, and it was
What
like,
a unique message. Not just like,
Yeah.
you got this, go, Anne. It's like,
it was
you're
really
going
good.
home on a shooting star?
Yeah. So it was perfect, and it really encapsulated like what I was feeling like. I will not die. Like, it is okay, and just going out. Yeah.
I'm just thinking about neighbors finding that message and being like, looking around like, where is she? Is she okay?
Okay.
Does
Like,
she
is
have
this a cover
cancer? What kind of home is she going to?
Did somebody get the vid?
Oh, the Rona, the apostrophe Rona.
The Rona, yeah. So that, I had a hard time during the day. Sandman came out for some emotional support, and I ended up going, I made it to 50 miles, and then was like, okay, at 50 miles, it was 9 p.m., and I got back from my 50-mile loop and was like, gosh, I still feel pretty, like, toasty. And I was like, what is the temperature outside? And Andy was like, it's still 62, which 62 is still warm.
Yes,
it's still warm. And so I went out on my loop 13. Is that right? 13?
Mm-hmm.
Loop 13. And I could not get myself to walk, or I couldn't get myself to run for the whole first out. And could not, I just couldn't get myself running. I was like, I just want to keep walking. I just want to keep walking. And when I hit the turnaround, I ran some on the way back, and I got back to the house with I think 2 minutes to go, and still didn't really feel freaked out, because it was still I just am trying to hold on until it cools off, and I feel like wanting to do this again, because I know that's how my body works. I cool off, and then I'm like, oh!
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm fine.
okay.
I don't make it over that crest.
Yeah, it was
That's a hard one.
hard. Yeah. And so I went back out on loop 14, and I got maybe less than a half mile away from the house, and I called Andy, and I was like, so I'm not coming back on time, but I told myself I will time out on a loop. This is my third backyard. I've never timed out on a loop because it just wigs me out. It wigs my brain out. I've always stopped before the loop that I think I won't be able to finish. And I got on this loop, and I called Andy and was just like, so I was like, usually I was like, despite the fact that we've spent the whole day together, I haven't actually got to talk to you at all. So what's going on? And I walked my loop. I had intended to walk fully out to my turnaround point and come back, but it was one of those epiphanies where you're like, oh God, if I'm walking, it's going to be 50 minutes at least to walk, to walk, no, more than that, an hour and a half to walk out and come back. But I did walk out to the 1.5 mile mark, which took me about 30 minutes, and then walked back. So I ended with officially 54 miles. And unofficially 57 miles and 13 loops, which,
for not training, that's an incredible fucking feat.
I know, and I really have to put that, I have to keep grabbing onto that to be it wasn't like I planned and trained to do 100 or 200 miles and only did 50 or so. It's that I have not wanted to run and pulled 50 miles out of my ass from nothing. If I was I'll say an everyday person and did 54 miles on a random Sunday or a random Saturday, or even as a runner did 54 miles on a random Saturday, that would be pretty cool.
It would be pretty cool regardless. Also, you were one of the last 400 people out of 2,400 people.
Yeah. So I just kind of feel like it's not bad. It's not bad.
It's not bad at all. It's very good.
And I'm grateful for the fact that it got me out for a run, even though it wasn't an easy one, because people are going to get tired of me saying this. I haven't wanted to do any running, so it's I'm just going to keep signing up for virtual races, and if I end up just running one time a week for 30 or 40 miles, I'm just going to call it good because
big virtual races, just heavy.
Because it's I'm just going to take whatever I can get. So, but yeah, that was my quarantine backyard ultra experience. I don't know. Thank you. I don't know what my lesson is or whatever. I think if I could choose to do it again, I would do it again. I feel like
you don't need to put on a ribbon on it for us.
Yeah, Yeah.
You don't have to have a life-changing pivotal moment every time you race. That would be too many pivotal moments.
It's like Schrodinger's cat. You never know what you're going to get.
Well, that I like.
Yeah, it's like, does this race exist or not exist? You don't know until you open the box.
I'm going to leave that one alone.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people ask me, like, aren't you going crazy not being able to be with Anne for this? And I was like, oh, yeah. Well, yeah, now I am.
Oh.
No, I mean, I always wanted to be there, but I had not let my brain entertain the notion that I could be physically near you, because if I do, I weep openly in the streets.
And it was good. Like, I really, there were some people that had, like, friends that would come out, and I kind of thought, like, isn't that kind of the antithesis of this event? Like, Wardian ended up having people come out to spectate him, and it was kind of like, that's not really
a quarantine event. Yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, you and I are really trying to do our part. Like, there's things you can do as, like, loopholes to what's going on, but there's definitely an intent behind what's happening. So it's like, yeah, even though there wasn't a rule for the Quarantine Backyard Ultra that people couldn't show up and watch your loop, intent-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, it was a cool thing to happen and spectate, and, like, there's so many more cool, I shouldn't say cooler, because nobody's cooler than us. There's so many other, like, articles and videos and stuff that you could watch about the end of the Quarantine Backyard Ultra and how the race was won by Mike Wardian. So I would encourage you to go watch that. But there were so many, like, cool stories and experiences of different people that were doing the event, and it was so fun to have, like, I think one of my favorite outcomes of this was my husband Andy told me for a day it felt like everything was normal. And I mean, I feel like that's kind of the best outcome that could have come up from this. And I should say, too, in addition to that, Arbor, my 7-year-old daughter, delivered another spectacular crew performance. So, like,
she's
her
so
level
cool.
of crewing on Sheltwee was, like, upped on crewing this event.
Wow.
Like, I was sitting there, like, and she was holding a banana and, like, feeding a banana to me.
She's been crewing you since she was 1.
Yes. Yeah. But, like, this was all, like, self-driven at this point, you know?
Yeah.
So it's, like, it's just remarkable. And, like, she woke up the next morning because I stopped after she had gone to bed, and she was so bummed that she was not going to be crewing me on Sunday. Like, that was, like, the one disappointing thing was, like, she really wanted to
keep going.
Me. Yeah.
What a kid.
But yeah, what a weekend. I do want to give some shout outs to some listeners that hopefully are listening to this, but like Jeff Kaleza, I never know how to say your last name, Jeff, but he and his son ran, I should have wrote this down before I started, but they definitely, I think they went to 16 hours.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit, dudes.
They did a really good job, so that was awesome.
Holy cow.
Jessica Grinspan, who is a recent Burf Barf listener and also happened to be on our Facebook Live event last Friday, she ended up getting upvoted to the Elite feed for this event. So
whoa,
Jessica.
Cool.
I think she ended up doing 30 plus hours. And I'm sorry, guys, if I'm botching your hours. I'm just going completely by memory. Jessica did a really great job, so that was awesome.
That's incredible.
Like, incredible. So just lots of cool things to see, and people being stoked about, like, doing distance PRs, or, like, you know, the fact that there was 3 Ohioans in, like, the last 10 people. So Harvey Lewis, Michael Owen, and Gabe Rainwater were all in that top group towards the end, which was so cool. Like,
we have some hard asses.
Ohio.
Yeah,
we do. And you know, if you don't know the Ridge Runner group in Southern Ohio, Southeast Ohio, they did a Ridge Runner live last night talking about the Quarantine Backyard Ultra with Michael Owen and Gabe Rainwater. And
whoa.
I'm kind of spoiling it a little bit, but Gabe Rainwater was talking about running on emotion, and I just thought, like, oh. So, Michael Owen's never done a backyard before. This is his first backyard.
And he did really well, didn't he? He got to the second day at least.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Gabe reached a new PR of like 158 miles or something like that, or 154 miles.
Holy
and
God.
when he stopped, Michael Owen was actually thinking about stopping, and Gabe was like, you have to keep going because you're the last Ohio guy. So then Michael Owen continued to go for a couple laps because even though he had wanted to stop too. So just,
Whoa.
Man. It was
Hard-ass
cool.
club. That rules.
So Quarantine Backyard Ultra. Let's do it again next weekend.
I don't like the backyard format as a racer, but as someone who watches backyard ultras, I feel like it's interesting because people push farther than the longest ultra distance that is commonly accepted. Like, I mean, there are multi-day events, there are stage events, but like a 200 is basically the ultimate peak of ultra running in America. So when an ultra race goes well beyond that, it really does show you the ultimate limits of human performance. So it is fascinating to know that a body can run almost 300 miles pretty consistently for days on end. That's fascinating. Yeah. I want nothing to do with it otherwise.
You and I have talked about this before. I still don't know if I like running backyards.
I know you don't know. I don't understand what your problem is.
Also, I still feel like I was stoked about this format in particular for Backyard Ultra because I thought like I would love to see what that experience looks like when I get to pick almost all of the
variables.
Factors, all the variables. Thank you. And then I was like, shoot, I feel like I forgot a couple variables, like training and the weather. So, like, I still kind of feel like, because the whole point of Backyard Ultra and when Laz made it is like, how would you do in a race if speed wasn't a factor? And I thought, like, yes, I will finally find out how I would do if, like, speed and ability were not a factor. And
speed and
no.
ability.
I was like, ability. No, I still don't know. Don't know.
Ability is not it.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like,
I do.
So I'm still waiting for, like, the perfect backyard venue and course to know where that limit lies so that I can be like, hey, when everything else is like perfectly finely tuned, how many hours could I go? So maybe I'll just do that shit from my house. Like on a random day, I will just try and do as many loops with like still 4.16667 miles every hour just to be like, hey, if there's no good reason to do it and I've picked the perfect weather day, how long could I go? But
even with the pavement?
What else do we have to do?
I was going to take down some wallpaper. I don't know. You're right. Run forever from your house.
Yeah. So run forever from my house. That makes me think. I want to talk about all these other, I'll say fun and awesome virtual races that are coming up, as well as like, just like a footnote for some juke-ass ones. So, I feel like, I'll mention the juke-ass piece first. You and I have seen a couple virtual races where the t-shirts look like somebody made them with a Sharpie and some duct tape. And the logo is ugly, the shirt is ugly, the format is uninspiring.
And the font is Comic Sans. I hope you guys didn't make it in case that was your race, but it is bad. It's just like capitalizing on the moment, and it's really like a lame-ass way to do it. Like all these shirts that people are selling on Instagram, like we're in this together and nothing lasts forever, or like whatever the fuck. Like inspirational shirts about quarantine, like you are the lowest of the low. That said, maybe we'll create a virtual race and capitalize on this market.
Yeah.
In a loving way.
Yeah, in a loving way. So I do think it's funny. There are some like, I'll say I will keep it with not inspiring races out there, because if your race shirt, metal, whatever font looks like Comic Sans and Papyrus had a baby, that is a bad font. And yes, I know I realize I'm saying that from like our logos and stuff. Well, I should say our logo branding is very consistent. So, you know.
Is. It was also professionally made, and it's not anybody's font, but ours.
Absolutely. But yeah, so
the puke dick font is strictly ours.
Yeah, dibs on the puke dick. So with that small note to say that there are some yucky, stupid-looking virtual races, there are so many good ones. So, like, on our last episode, we mentioned the virtual vertical 5K.
Oh, yeah, I gotta do that.
Yeah, supporting the ice theater groups for Jonathan and his kids who do it in Florida, which is awesome. If you want, listen to our last episode, and we'll put up a link for signing up for that virtual race as well. But it's, you know, how much vert can you, trying to get the most vert you can while having to do a minimum of 5K in distance and a time limit of 40 minutes. That's really cool. Andy just sent me one today that is the COVID Ultra. And so it is essentially how many 5-mile loops can you fit into 12 hours. And there's a specific day to do it. And they're doing a dollar prize purse based on how many people sign up. So like if 200 people sign up, first place gets $200.
That's cool.
Yeah, and they're doing like age groups and awards for the first, second, third place. So like I think that's really cool. The swag looks cool. Aravipa just added, they have their Aravipa Strong Race, which is like whatever you want to do, but they also just put up, well, it's actually Run Steep, not Aravipa, but the Limitless Vertical Challenge, and it's how much vert can you get in a week. And
wow. Yeah, but they all live in places where that stuff is possible because their backyards are all mountains.
You can also do treadmill. So I might hop on Kirby and do that. And the logo's really cool. It says like Limitless and has like scenery in the letters. Like,
but isn't that just relying on your own self-reporting?
Yeah. I mean, they all are. So you have to like submit your Strava or a treadmill like shot or whatever. Have you seen the Yeti 24-hour thing yet?
No, I don't care about ultras. Sure, that sounds fun.
You're doing a marathon. This is barely more than that. So I actually think this one is also cool. So it's the Yeti 24-hour challenge, and it is running 5 miles running 5 miles every 4 hours for 24 hours.
Oh, I could do that.
Right? So, like, you're going to have, like, one loop that's really weird. It's going to be at, like, 2 a.m. or 8 a.m., depending on how you start. But, like, tell me that doesn't sound like the perfect mix of, like,
that
novelty.
Sounds good.
And it does sound
that
good.
That sounds good.
And Yeti swag is always good.
So it's like, delicious.
It's like a cat with an umbrella with, like, lightning coming out of the umbrella.
What?
It's really good. It looks really cool. So,
all right. Okay. That actually tingles my Pringles a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll think about it.
And you can do it, I think, any day in April. So,
my calendar's booked. Quite legitimately.
You know, though, I've seen quite a few people double dipping on their virtual races. So, like, just a thought.
Like submitting results for multiple races?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
These formats are too unique. We also might have to move the beer mile given my marathon sitch.
So, let's talk about this. So you're doing the Running Is Not Canceled virtual race, and you're doing the marathon distance.
If my body will let me.
Do you have to specify, like, do you get something different based on what distance you do?
Everyone gets the same package.
All the same difference. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. So if I finish with a half marathon, that's also fine.
Sweet. So you're thinking about doing that the weekend of?
The 18th. Because
April 18th.
I don't think this upcoming weekend I'm not ready. Is the next weekend April 18th?
Yes.
I don't feel ready at all. I mean, I'm just doing it for funsies, so it doesn't matter if I'm ready.
Yeah, and let me ask, because I've been thinking about this too with, like, signing up for virtual races and feeling like, I shouldn't sign up unless I'm going to, like,
do it well?
Do it well, and then I'm like, I don't have to do it well. Like, that's the one thing that's going to drag me out the door, and I end up walking 6 miles of my half marathon or whatever. That's okay.
I fully kind of anticipate walking a big chunk of the marathon. Like, the marathon's going to be a day event.
So, like,
you know?
But you say that you just did 9 miles at 8:50, and didn't you just do a half marathon PR like last weekend or something?
Not a PR, but close.
Yeah. So I'm saying, as I often like
There's
to
nothing
say,
scarier than a marathon.
I agree.
Nothing.
Although I just did 54 miles on asphalt, so who knows? I don't know what's up or down. So like, but thinking about like everybody should get what they want. Like if you try and go out balls out on a marathon, you should do that. And then if you go out there and you're like, I didn't actually want to go balls out, I'm just gonna walk.
Yeah, I might stop at Peace, Love, and Little Donuts 3 times while going up and down High Street.
I'm just gonna walk this while I eat this Pop-Tart that's in my pocket.
Yeah, I have no idea what the future holds, but it does seem a little bit hard to do an all-out beer mile and a marathon on the same day. So I might have to finagle with you a little.
So you know what we could do?
What?
We could do it more than once. I could do like my Yeti challenge thing, which is the like 5 miles every 4 hours, the same day that you do your Running Is Not Canceled marathon, so that we're both fucked up. Like,
wow.
we could do like a back-to-back, like we could do our beer mile on a Sunday. We could do what we want. We could do like crazy hard thing.
I'd be down for that.
We could do crazy hard thing on a Saturday and then do virtual beer mile on a Sunday. And then if we decide to try it again later, we'll try it again later. We got nothing but time.
Sure. However, your husband has done beer miles, drinks, and doesn't care about people doing beer miles. When I told my husband I was doing a beer mile from my house, he was like, oh, great. So more than one of those might kill him. Because I've been party time in the house once during COVID, and he was like, I don't know how I feel about this. I was like...
Yes, but imagine this. We've never done a beer mile and not had our 4 beers during the event and then continued to drink afterwards, which is not the greatest idea for longevity purposes. So just imagine if you could do your four beers during the beer mile and then stop afterwards, maybe we won't get so shitty.
We'll see about that.
That.
Okay, so possibly the 19th. I'm okay with that.
Okay, I think it would be fun. It would be horrible and fun.
Yeah. I like that kind of fun.
Yeah, make sure you add beer to your grocery pickup list.
Ooh, that is a very good point, because right now all I have is white wine and bubbles from Rheingeist. And that would be hooked up.
Ooh. Do you know
that would just it would come right out your nose. It's so bubbly, it would just explode out of your face.
Do you know how bad that would taste when you were like towards the end? There's quite a few things that I feel like are tasty.
Until you ruin them by chugging them?
Yeah. I feel like I'm prepping for dental surgery.
Yeah, I don't like that.
So make sure you get beer in your cart, virtual beer mile during quarantine problems. Make sure that it's, standard issue, beer mile beer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
also, barfers.
I'm open to doing it wherever. So.
Cool. Also, barfers, stay on the lookout for our trivia piece, which will be coming for you to potentially win a virtual vertical 5K entry.
Yep, and all the swag that is included with that. So, enjoy your virtual races. If you guys have virtual races that you're doing that you want to share, please do. Like, I could use the motivation. It's good to know that running continues even when I don't. And
post it on our wall, my dudes. We want to know.
Yeah, and Laura and I are going to continue to do every virtual race that strikes our fancy.
I might do 3 on a Wednesday.
For real. I'm going to have to... You know what? That actually sounds real... Doesn't that sound nice? I'll have to get out a calendar to map out when I can do which virtual races. Because, I'm also considering the Running Is Not Canceled event because you can still sign up.
Oh, dude, the swag is dope. Do it.
It is good. The virtual vertical 5K race, the Yeti challenge, the 12-hour thing, the virtual beer mile. That's 5 races we've just talked about.
Yeah, I only want 3 of them, but I like it.
If I could have to get a calendar out to figure out a schedule,
Oh, I wish that were true for me, but my calendar is just Zoom. Someone asked me to hang out on Zoom this weekend, and I was like, I literally don't have time. I don't have an open Zoom meeting this weekend.
Life is weird. Everything you do is okay.
Everything you do is okay, and we love you.
Well, until next time, dear listeners.
We are...
Bird
Bird
Box!